Hi everybody, and welcome back to the Mirror World Mobile SDK JavaScript speedrun. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to display critical user information to the user. For example, their tokens, their NFTs, and their previous transactions. In the previous video, which we have linked below, we spoke about how to auto-log your user in so that they don't have to keep clicking the connect button every time they log in, or the login button for that matter, every time they visit your application. And we implemented it in a secure manner according to the Mirror World authentication schema. And now we're going to add a little bit more so we can show the user some useful information so they can actually interact with your dApp. All right, so to get started, I'm going to show us how to actually invoke these features on the SDK. It's actually very simple, and the SDK provides a few methods that you can use. One, you can display the user's wallet address. We were able to display that in the previous video, so you may not cover that in this video, but we'll probably show you a little bit. And then you can also get the user's SPL token balances. This is if they say they have USDC, or they have like Sol for that matter, or maybe they have some other token. We can also show that balance to them, and we can also show them the previous transaction history that they have used in this particular wallet. Alright, so then how do you actually do this? So to actually fetch the NFTs, it's very simple. In the SDK, the methods are very simple and declarative. You just need to say get NFTs, and this will return an array of NFTs for the user. If you want to fetch the user's transactions, you can call the get transactions API, and that will return the transactions for the user. And if you want to fetch their SPL tokens, this is how you invoke that. These methods are also documented in the docs, so you can actually go ahead and see them there. I'm just going to go ahead and open our documentation, see if I can open a new window in here, and then visit docs.mirrorworld.fun. I think let's just go to docs Mirror World. I know yeah, it's because I'm in full screen mode, that's why. Alright, so if you explore the documentation and go into the JavaScript API, all the other SDKs have the same APIs as well. If you go to the JavaScript API, you can see the methods here. This is what it's like to get tokens, to get transactions, to get NFTs. It's very simple. You can get more detailed, but we're just going to focus on these three for this video. Alright, so let's get started. Let's open up our editor, and then let's just crank out some code. So the code for this tutorial, once again, is available on GitHub. It's linked below, and you can check to see. This is the demo from our previous application. So if I refresh the page, as you can see here, the user is auto logged in. Now you can see we're able to fetch the user object. It's nice, it's beautiful. So now I would like to add some more information to say fetch their NFTs, right? So for that we can add, let's define a couple of functions that we can then use to set the variables for the NFTs. So I guess what we could do here is yeah, let's pull in the Mirror World instance, right? So this would be Mirror World, right? And now let's add another button. Let's add another button down here. I'll create another div, and let's put another button, and let's call this get NFTs, right? And let's add here an event listener. On click, we would like to then pull in the Mirror World dot get NFTs, right? And this should invoke the get NFTs, the NFTs method. So if we can go ahead and see here, so I think okay, here it potentially thinks that this method is not defined, so we're just going to go ahead in TypeScript and see if we can enforce this here. All right, it looks like all right, and then we could pass in here the Mirror World as Mirror World. All right. Cool, and then in here we just need to invoke the Mirror World dot get NFTs method, and all right, I think here we can let's just define a new function to do that. So because I think TypeScript is complaining, and all right, I think we can then invoke the function in here. So we have to define a limit as well, because the API is relatively if the user has say 1,000 NFTs, it might actually be complex to do. Okay. The description below. All right, so The first thing we're going to do is create another div and put it under here, so we can put the button so the user can actually click to get their NFTs. So for that, let's go ahead and do this. We will get the let's define a div in here. Let's put a button in there, and let's write a function called fetch NFTs, and let's see, async function, and this would say fetch NFTs, and this should be relatively simple to do. So we can say const NFTs is equal to await mirror world. Oh yeah, so one thing we forgot to do was to pull in the mirror world from this hook. So we're just gonna destructure it from in here. So it's a mirror world, then we can say mirror world dot NFTs dot fetch NFTs, so get NFTs, and we'll need to pass in some parameters. The reason why we want to do this is so we can paginate the request. So for this case, we will limit them to say 10 NFTs, right? And the offset, I guess, should be 0. So just return the first page of 10 NFTs, and then we should console.log the NFTs. As a good practice, I always recommend that you put everything inside a nice try catch so you do not break your application. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I've try this, and if there's an error, then we want to catch the error and log out to the user. Say console.error, could not fetch NFTs. There was an error, and then we will pass the error parameter in there. So the last thing we need to do is to say here get NFTs, and we will then add an on-click handler, and then there we go, we have the fetch NFTs. So if we click this with any luck, we should be able to fetch the user's NFTs and display them in the console. So if we click that, alright, so it says it's an empty array. We're able to fetch the NFTs, and we can prove that I actually have no NFTs, because if I go over here in the browser, I'm just going to go ahead and do that and go to the explorer.solana.com and switch to DevNet, because we're developing on testnet. You can see that in my tokens account, I actually do not hold any NFTs. So let's fix that. Here in my Phantom wallet, I do have in my Glow wallet, I do have some NFTs. So I'm just going to transfer some NFTs from here into my wallet. So I'm just going to go ahead to find an NFT that I own on DevNet. Just go ahead to the DevNet, switch to DevNet, and I can go back to my NFTs. And I know I have a bunch of NFTs in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and transfer this one. Let's send this NFT to my address. All right, confirm and send. All right, cool. With any luck, I should be able to see this. If I go over to my transaction history, I think it should be able to show the NFTs that I just transferred. Well, I can just head on over to Explorer and refresh this page. Awesome. So now we can see that the NFT is displayed here on the Explorer in our wallet address, and we should be able to fetch it after we transferred it into our wallet now inside our application. So just to go over that really quickly, here we click the fetch NFTs button. This should invoke the get NFTs method, return the 10 NFTs inside the wallet, and that should now index them. So if we go ahead and click get NFTs, all right, there we go. It returns an array of the NFTs, and you can see the attributes there as well, bike lens, everything, which is really cool. If we go back to the Explorer and we click on our NFT, it should display the same metadata. So we're just going to go ahead just to confirm that it's the same one, and we can go over to the metadata tab, the attributes tab rather, and you can see the glasses, the bike lens. And if we go back into our browser, we can check the glasses property, bike lens, and that is it. Now we've managed to fetch the user's NFTs. Now let's add one more function. We'd like to now get the user's SPL token. So how are we going to do that? We're going to copy the same function in here, and let's say fetch tokens, let's call SPL tokens. Let's be a bit more explicit, if you will. And here we'll then say get tokens, right? For this, we don't need to pass any parameters inside the get tokens method. As you can see, it just fetches the current user's tokens. This will then return an array of tokens. So we're just going to go ahead and console.log this. It could not fetch user tokens. All right, so let's define another function down here, another button, and I think we'll put like a break tag inside there, line break tag, so we can have some space in between them. And in here we will say here fetch SPL tokens, get my tokens. All right, cool. So there we go. It looks like our line break didn't do much, but that's all right. All right, so if we click the get my tokens, I'm going to clear console and click that. This should now fetch the tokens inside this address. As you can see, I have Sol, but I don't have any other tokens in this wallet. So let's see if we could do something and transfer some more tokens inside here. Cool. So going back to my nice and wonderful Glow wallet, I do have some other weird tokens in my wallet. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer those into this address. So I'm just going to go into the distribution here for this NFT, and then just copy my wallet address from here. And I'm just going to go into the wallet and see if I could send myself 100 of this USDC DevNet. All right. Okay. I'd like to send this, and I think I'll send myself 100 of those. And I can preview that. I think that should ideally work. I do have some gas in there. All right, perfect. There we go. It says the transaction's been submitted. If I go back to my wallet's transaction history on the Explorer on Solana, it should be able to show. There we go. Well, it should at least show that I have some tokens inside my wallet. So I'm just gonna refresh. All right, there we go. Now I can see the USDC dev. It's in there, and I should have a balance of about 100, which is perfect. So let's go over back into our browser, and let's click the fetch my tokens again. This should now display the tokens that I have inside here, as you can see. Great. So here we can see now we have the USDC dev. There we go. We have 100 of those, and it also shows the mint of the NFT that we have. So now it does combine the SPL tokens. So both NFTs and other tokens are NFTs and the regular fungible tokens are returned inside this API. So you could just filter by the number of decimals if you just want to get the tokens. But this is really good. So now we can try to get the user's transactions. I think this is something that most people would like to be able to do. So to do that, we can then come in here and then say fetch transactions. Okay, and I'm just going to collapse this so that it's not in our way, so we can see more code. All right, fetch transactions, and I think this should be get transactions, and this should return get here transactions for the user. This should return a transactions object, and we'll put that in here, user transactions. Sorry for the typos. And then let's go ahead and copy this code and put that at the bottom there, and this should be fetch transactions. There we go, get my transactions. All right, okay, maybe this is what I should have done before. Looks like it's probably what I should have done. All right, there we go. All right, cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear the console. And if I click the get my transactions, this should return the transaction history for my wallet address. As you can see, it's very descriptive enough. It's raw, but we do plan to actually improve this so you can get actual readable data that you can actually parse. But if you want a more advanced response, this is what you'll be able to get, so you don't have to actually query that yourself. And you can actually take a look and see. We can actually prove that this is the transaction history for my wallet. As you can see, I have a maximum of 3 transactions, which were all returned inside the response. Perfect. So as a recap, we figured out how to get the user NFTs. We figured out how to get the user's SPL tokens. We've also figured out how to get the user's transactions. And that's it for today's video. The link for today's source code is going to be in the description below. If you have any other questions about anything you'd like to learn using the Mirror World SDK, please comment them down below. We'll be sure to get through them and try to answer them. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you build. If you've built something really cool with the SDK, please let us know. We're down to take a look and see. We're going to cover more videos, more topics. We have lots of things in store. So please don't forget to subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers.